All right, we have a table full of guns here, and today I'm going to show you how small the Hellcat is compared to all of these, so make sure you stay tuned here. Really quick, I would like to thank all of our patrons, but specifically the ones you're seeing on the screen. These are our $5 and up patrons. Thank you for your support, and if you'd like to join the SHOT team, make sure you follow the link down in the description box below. All right, so let's start with the Hellcat, which is obviously the star of the show here. So, as far as dimensions, it's an inch wide, it's 4 inches high with the base magazine, which is what we're going to be talking about. The weight is 17.9 ounces. The barrel length is 3 inches with an overall length of 6 inches. The whole reason we do these videos is because specs is one thing. Seeing all of these firearms in one video together so you can get an idea and perspective of the size amongst a very loaded concealed carry market is entirely another. All right, so let's start with direct competitors, and then we'll move all the way up to the Glock 19. So the P365 is obviously what the Hellcat is trying to compete with, and I think it's doing a really good job of it. So P365, an inch wide, 4.3 inches high, 17.8 ounces in the weight. Barrel is 3 inches, and overall length is 5.8. So how that looks compared to each other, if we do these slide to slide, you see that the Hellcat is just a little bit longer. They're both right in an inch in width, so this isn't going to make too much of a difference. And then what you have is you have an 11+1 gun and a 10+1 gun in the P365. Of course, the grip is what you're trying to hide. It's what you're actually concealing. And of course, we're talking to law-abiding citizens here. This is the whole thing right here. You have weight, which is going to obviously affect your comfort. Width, which is going to cause your pants to bulge and how much it's going to bulge. And then, of course, your grip length here. All right. And so the whole idea now, since the P365 came along, is more rounds and a smaller firearm. Keep in mind, these guns are not for the faint of the heart. I mean, the smaller you get, the less mass to soak up that recoil, and the more recoil you are going to feel. So just keep that in mind. So 10+1, 11+1, and the dimensions are almost identical. The biggest difference really I see here, you have 17.8 ounces unloaded, 17.9. There's really not a huge difference here. You get one more round. I think they competed perfectly with the P365. One gun I'd like to mention that did not compete perfectly, just since we're in this range here, is the Glock 43X. 10 rounds, but much longer than either one of these guns. Let's go over the P365 XL, which is a 12-round gun. As far as dimensions, you're at 1.1 inches in width, 4.8 inches in height, 20.7 ounces unloaded, with a barrel length of 3.7 and an overall length of 6.6. And how this looks, slide to slide once again, you see the P365 XL is significantly longer, but this isn't going to make too much of a difference, to be honest with you. It's 1/10 of an inch wider. Again, not going to make the biggest difference. Now you have 11+1 and 12+1. So your base height is 4 inches here, and then your base height over here is 4.8 inches. So over a half of an inch to get one more round. That's where things start to get interesting. Now this gun, I would say, is much more comfortable in the hand. This is like the perfect for my hands and probably for a lot of y'all. I mean, when you put this gun in your hand, it is absolutely ideal. And then with this gun, you are going to feel the recoil with this gun, or at least I noticed a good amount of recoil with it. And of course, I can't get all of my fingers on this grip. Now that's great for concealability. When we're talking about at the range, though, you're gonna notice a little bit of difference, maybe a little bit more adjustment, possibly just maybe a few more rounds, through the gun to get yourself acclimated to its size. But again, how does that affect your carry? Obviously, this is going to be a little bit harder to conceal. Now, remember, not everybody is, 6 foot tall and 220 pounds. I mean, we're talking everywhere from young and smaller ladies, all the way up the spectrum of that 6'5", 250-pound dude. So we're not just talking about, I know we get a lot of comments like, well, I can conceal, it's like, well, yeah, maybe you can, but not everybody is built like you. We're talking about a wide range of people, men and women alike. So just keep that in mind. So this dimension right here is actually pretty significant. Is that, over a half of an inch worth it to you for one more round? It may or may not be. So there you go. There's the P365 XL. Not quite as impressive in the size range when we look at that. I'm going to give you a twofer here. So I'm going to go with the M&P subcompact and then the Glock 26, the original baby Glock, the original king of concealed carry, as I have called it in the past. Now this one, 10+1, 10+1. Look how times have changed and how much of an advancement we have now. So the Glock 26, you're looking at 1.26 inches in width, 4.1 inches in height. Overall weight, or unloaded weight, I should say, 19.4 ounces, barrel length of 3.4, and an overall length of 6.5. And that looks like this. So you can tell the Glock is a little bit longer. Again, this may affect you if you're carrying appendix, but it's not going to make that big of a difference. That width right there, though, this is a chunky gun. Most Glocks are, especially the double stacks. That's going to cause your pants to stick out a little bit more. And then as far as the dimensions here, actually pretty dang close. And let me move them back to where they were, because that was ideal. The Glock, I think, is 1/10 of an inch taller. So not a real big dimension. The biggest thing you're going to notice is how wide this gun, how chunky it is. A little bit more weight too. So over 2 ounces more. That's going to equate to a little bit heavier, a little bit wider, may lead to a little bit of discomfort. But you got to think, this gun has been out since what, the mid 90s? So yeah, it's been out for a while, and advancements in machining and all this kind of stuff have really helped to produce guns like this. Now, before we move to the M&P, if you are looking at concealed carry, make sure you are protecting yourself financially and legally. The USCCA is the company we choose to do that with. I'll leave a link down below so you can go over and check them out. Very, very important that you at least consider a company, a good company, in case you ever have to pull your firearm in self-defense. Make sure you do that, so I'll leave a link down below. Great group of people, and go over and check them out. So let's move to the M&P 9 subcompact. This is the new M2.0 review coming very soon. So here's the thing. When you move up to a gun like this, say I have basically 2.5 fingers on this gun, and I have 2.5 fingers on this gun. So this one's going to offer you 12+1. This one obviously is going to offer you 11+1. Again, it's going to be a little bit chunkier. Not quite as chunky, especially in the grip, as the Glock there, as you can tell, but it's still a chunkier gun. But what this offers you in the Glock 26 and this gun is a little bit more weight, so it's going to equate to a more shootable gun. So it's going to be easier to control. So if you can handle the weight of a gun like this, or the Glock 26 or any of these others, that's going to be a much better gun, much easier gun to shoot and all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be harder to carry as well. Now, one thing that has to be mentioned is make sure that you get a good holster and gun belt. These are things that are essential if you're going to be carrying inside the waistband, and do it in a comfortable way. So here are the dimensions of the M2.0 subcompact. All right, so the width of this gun is going to be 1.2, 1.3 inches, somewhere in that range. Height is 4.9 inches. Unloaded weight is 25 ounces. The barrel is 3.6 inches. And the overall is 6.6 inches. So you're talking about 8 ounces of unloaded weight extra. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a half of a pound. So it's quite a bit, and this is what you're going to notice here. So let's show it like that, slide to slide. It is considerably longer. It's going to give you more sight radius, of course. It is considerably wider as well. So again, this is going to cause your pants to stick out. And then we're talking about 12+1, 11+1. The difference here, honestly, it's not as big of a difference if we look at the P365 XL, which is considerably longer, but it's also not as heavy as this gun. All right, so it's going to be a little bit more shootable, a little bit more controllable in your hands, but you're going to be taking on that extra weight for one more round. Again, is that worth it to you? That's going to be something you're going to have to decide. But the advancements, even since the original M&P subcompact came out, the advancements in technology has just been incredible. So there you go. There it is compared to the subcompact M&P. This one is a little bit closer than, at least in grip length, a little bit closer than the XL for sure to the Hellcat. And pretty much right on par with the Glock 26 and everything else. So the Hellcat, again, is going to offer you such a small package with a lot of firepower. I had Mrs. Heckshot write down the specs of the new shield, but I did want to show you the original shield. So I'm going to tell you the specs of the new one because they did lighten it up a little bit, but I'm going to show you an original one. So again, the original shield here, so right under an inch there, 4.5 inches tall, 18.3 ounces unloaded weight, 3.1 inches in the barrel, and 6.1 inches in overall. So if we look at these slide to slide, again, the shield's going to be just a hair longer. They're going to be just about the same width. Actually, the shield, it does, even in the grip, look quite a bit thinner, but it's just not even 1/10 of an inch difference there. This is the big difference here. So 4.5 inches to 4 inches. You have 7+1 with the base mag, 11+1. Again, the shield has been out since, what, 2007, 2008? Something like that. It's been out for a very long time. So the Hellcat obviously has a beat in all of these areas, but let's consider the age of the shield, which has been known for the past at least decade to be one of the best, if not the best, concealed carry firearm. But again, these advancements have allowed us to get something like this, all right? So, again, I will never talk bad about the shield because this is our original shield, and we still absolutely love this gun. There are different, maggots and things like that you can do to increase the capacity, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about base guns, stock guns, and it's really impressive, 7+1 to 11+1 with a smaller grip and a lighter gun, almost an ounce lighter than the original shield. So there's that one. Now, I would be doing a huge disservice to y'all by not showing you the DB9. Again, all these guns have been safety checked. I don't know if I mentioned that, but obviously all of these guns have been safety checked. The DB9 is like pretty much the smallest 9mm I know that I've ever personally handled. It's got to be one of the smallest, if not the smallest, on the market. So check this out. You have a unloaded weight of 13.4 ounces. You have a barrel length of 3.1 inches. Overall, 5.73. Weight, height is 4 inches with a width of 0.89. Super tiny. You're going to get 6+1 in the pipe, and this is what it looks like. Slide to slide there, you can see the Hellcat is just a much bigger gun, pretty much all the way around. Weight, height, width, everything. But here's the interesting part. So the DB9, it is designed to be if it's going to be a primary, it's for somebody that really can't print. I mean, like you wear form-fitting clothes, maybe a female, maybe you're carrying, whatever the case may be, it has its roles. As a backup gun, probably, it has its roles. But look at that. So the Hellcat is maybe 1/10 of an inch taller. They actually both say they're about 4 inches in height, but we can tell there it's about 1/10 of an inch. 11+1, 6+1 with the DB9. Very impressive when you look at it like that. DB9, again, it has its roles, and I've carried this gun. Ankle carry really is my primary for that gun, but very impressive how many rounds you can get out of the Hellcat. So now let's move to the very last one, the Glock 19. I like to show this gun because a lot of people pretty much say the Glock 19 is the pinnacle for the ideal concealed carry size to weight to capacity ratio, which I will not take that away from Glock. They do a really good job with that most of the time. But the Glock 19, again, a lot of these guns are starting to show their age, and the Glock 19 is no exception. So if we look at the specs here, 1.3 inches in width, a height of 5.0 inches, unloaded weight of 21.5 ounces, barrel length of 4 inches, and an overall length of 7.2. So let's look at these guns side by side, slide to slide. And the Glock 19 looks like a behemoth next to the Hellcat. And keep in mind, the Glock 19 is 15+1, and the Hellcat is 11+1. And I know there's guys that carry the Glock 19 on a daily basis, but it's a lot of gun. When you load it up, you're talking about well into the 2-pound range, and you can see the difference right there. All right, so you have well over an inch of difference in grip length, which obviously is what you're trying to conceal, 4 or 5 ounces in weight, overall weight. So it makes a big difference. Plus, you have 4 more rounds, so that's even more weight that you're considering carrying on an everyday basis. The Hellcat, they did it right, man. And I know a lot of people are against Springfield for some of the stuff that happened a couple years ago, and I get it. But they did an amazing job with this gun, and they one-upped, literally one-upped the competition, which I think is pretty funny. So, yeah, it's a great gun. It's a great size. They nailed it with this. And you know what this means. Even if you're not a fan of the P365 or the Hellcat, probably not of the Glock 43X, I really don't like that. It did not impress me as far as the size, but I digress. Even if you don't like these guns, you know what that means. That means more and more companies are going to come out with guns like this, and we're again going to be hopefully even more impressed with some of the offerings that are coming down the pipeline, because these companies have to compete, and they know that the P365 was the start of this, and I can't wait to see what other companies are going to do. So let me know what you think about the size differences of these guns down in the comments, and make sure that if you are a Power Patron or up, that you look for your special outro coming right after this. Thank you for your support. We will see you in the next one, and as always, holding down.